Hello once again, and welcome to our weekly coach interview with Coach Damon Floyd, head coach of the Bradley Central Bears, brought to you by Cleveland Collision Center at 2901 Water Level Highway. Visit them today for all your automotive repair needs or check them out online at www.clevelandcollisioncenter.com. Well, Coach, a little different vibe in the air for the team this week. Coach is the Bear Nation this week after a huge win over Walker Valley. Lord, sort of down and out a little bit for a little while last first game after we lost to Farragut and the heartbreaker there. But were you surprised with our quick start in the Walker Valley game, how things turned out?
Well, you always hope for a quick start like that, but you never know how it's going to go. So we were very pleased the way we started. We just felt like offensively, defensively, and in the kicking game, we were going to come out and be very aggressive. And we felt like our team they enjoyed that, I guess is the easiest way to put it. They like being aggressive, and you know, we have some guys that obviously can make some plays on both sides of the ball, and we felt that we did that Friday night.
Well, your quarterback, Javen Burke, he's been here, and hey, he's not really a quarterback, he's a running back. Well, he showed he can be a quarterback. He ran one time only when he had to scramble.
Yes.
16 to 21 passing, 257 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's got to give him a big boost in his confidence and his leadership on the team. He's a junior, but he hit 6 different receivers in the game, and that's got to make everybody feel good, his performance.
Yeah, I think obviously playing Farragut was his first game with us, so he's only going to continue to improve and get better and better. And he did a good job of that Friday night, obviously. He can throw the ball. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's got as much arm talent as anybody we've ever had, if not more. As much zip on the ball, and there's little things he's got to work on as far as how our offense works. But once again, you know, you had Cole and Dylan and Bryce. They were here for 4 years, you know, so they knew when they got their chance, they knew a lot more. They were farther along than he was, knowledge-wise. He's catching on very fast. He's a very smart kid. He's a straight-A student. So the great thing about him is he's a dual threat. People are going to have to pick their poison, you know. And if Walker Valley doesn't rush and they don't want him to run, he can drop back and pass. So we feel very fortunate to have him at quarterback. And the way the game has changed, I mean, you watch Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. Those guys can do both, and that puts pressure on the defense. So we just want him to take what the defense gives him, and he did that Friday night, and he did it against Farragut. And there'll be times he'll have some games that he rushes for a lot of yards. Sometimes he throws for a lot of yards. The good thing is he can do both.
Well, I made the comment, the offensive line was outstanding.
They
protected him. I mentioned one time on the radio that he could have gone to the concession stand and got him a drink and popcorn and come back. Still had time to find a receiver because they were literally that good. But Trey Curry, fair game, had 1 touch, I think. This game he caught had 5 carries out of the backfield, 48 yards and a touchdown, 3 receptions for 62 yards, and he makes those spectacular Curry's catches that we come to expect from him each week. It's good to see him get those touches. And defenses here again, you got another threat that's just hard to cover with one guy. So it just makes game playing, I guess, a little easier for you.
Well, you just got to get him the ball any way you can, because when he gets his hands on the ball, he's going to make something happen, and usually it's a positive for us. So we targeted him a lot against Farragut. We just never could get it to him in the way we wanted to. So Coach Moody did a good job of game planning and having, you know, finding a variety of ways to get it to him. So we'll continue to be creative with him and get the ball in his hands as quick as we possibly can, and then obviously take our shots downfield with him because he can go up and get it at such a high point. And it opens up stuff for our other guys too, you know. And like you said, Javen did a really good job of spreading around to 6 different receivers, and they did a good job running routes, throwing and catching. I think Javen was 15 of 20. And then obviously a lot of credit goes to our offensive line, who doesn't ever get enough credit. We got 4 guys up there that are seniors who played a lot of football in the past. Then you got Bennett Burris, who's grading out very high. Those 5 guys, we feel they're pretty much playing at a high level. And if they continue to do that, it'll be one of the best offensive lines that we've had here since I've been here for sure.
Well, I know you grade him every play in every game. Sailor Clark, we select him as our Andrew Johnson Bank Player of the Week. He had 7 receptions, 85 yards, a touchdown. Ken Hall had 2 receptions for 48 yards. He had a touchdown. It's got to be a challenge for the defensive coordinator to figure out who do we cover and how do we cover them. Can we cover them one-on-one? Because, boy, you talk about speed. I mean, we've got speed to burn there in those guys.
And we spent a lot of time talking about, you know, we only got 1 ball. And there's a lot of guys. You didn't mention Ricky.
That's
or
right.
Javon,
Yeah.
Ashton Boyd. So Destin Thomas. I mean, we got a lot of guys that can do things with the ball, but that's what makes us successful, and that's that'll, you know, make us potent on offense for the rest of the year is spreading that ball around. You can't really focus on one guy, and if you do, we got other guys that can hurt you. So as long as we continue to play team ball, and the guys have had great attitude. What I enjoy as a coach is when somebody makes a play and your teammates are excited. You know, you see that. You turn on the film, somebody's scoring, everybody's high-fiving, everybody's happy. Because in the end, it's about team and it's about what Bradley Central does, and all those guys are integral parts. And some nights, some guys are going to have really good games, and some guys aren't going to get to touch it as much.
Right.
But the main thing is what we do as a team, and I think all of our guys are bought into that, and excited about what our offense can do this year.
Well, got to mention the kicking game. Isaac Vaughn, a senior who just came out to kick this year for the Bears, perfect 7 for 7 the other night, kicked a field goal. And we talked about this on the radio. He's getting longer and longer on his kickoffs, and that's a huge weapon that some people just don't consider.
Well, it is, and the great thing about Isaac is he can place it on kickoff. So we can tell him to kick it in a variety of different places, and he can make that happen. He's starting to get a lot more confident, which I talked about after Farragut. He is wanting to kick now, where before he may have been nervous. He goes up there and hits a 33-yard field goal. So I still think he's going to continue to get better. I'm hoping by the end of the season he can kick some in the end zone on kickoff. But, very fortunate to have Isaac. And then we have a lot of kickers. Carson Phillips transferred in from Orlando. We feel like he has a chance to, on kickoff, to put it in the end zone for us. His dad kicked it Wake for us. So we'll start getting him in more varsity.
Freshman era, Rojas.
Rojas kicked the PAT Friday night as a freshman. He's got a bright future. He kicks the ball really well. So we're excited where we're at kicking right now.
Well, one guy had the night off was our punter, Braden
Yes.
Clark. It shows we just dominated the game completely. He did have an interception on defense along with Aiden McCleary. So that shows you that the Bears really had an outstanding game, I thought, all the way around.
Yeah, and Braden's obviously he is our punter. He plays outside linebacker for us. He's another guy that could really play receiver. He's got really good hands, really good speed. Later, probably not this year, but maybe in the future he might line up at receiver too.
Well, on defense, we held walkabout at 33 yards passing. As former Bear Tucker Pope, he only hit 4 out of 15, had 2 picks, and was only 1 of 10 in the first half when he built the big lead. I don't know what more you could ask for from your defensive unit than what we've seen Friday night in just a dominating fashion. They held walkabout 116 yards on 30 carries. That's a 3.4 yard per carry average, which is really good. And on the other hand, we averaged 7 yards per carry. You figured we run 2 plays, we're going to have a first down every time. We had 23 first downs to only 8 for Walker Valley, so it was pretty dominating contest all night long for the Bears.
Felt really good about our defense, and really the busted play that they had in the second quarter was my fault. They lined up in a heavy package. We went over some of that stuff during the week, and they gave us a little different shift, and we didn't have enough guys over there, and that's coaching. So they had a hat on a hat, so. They had 4-on-4 over there with the running back on that side, obviously, or I think it was a quarterback run, and he broke free. We just didn't have enough guys over there, and that's an alignment problem on my part. So, I was really happy with the way the defense played. I felt like secondary obviously played good. We played a lot of man coverage, but we mixed some zone in there. We brought different blitzes from lots of places. We communicated well, and I honestly do not think we had any bust mentally on defense on assignment-wise, other than the long touchdown, like I said, but that's more my fault. That wasn't the player's fault. So really happy the way they focused and played it. And I told you last week, when you play Walker Valley Cleveland, attention to detail is a little bit better, and it was obviously better Friday night.
Well, we had a huge lead at halftime. As a matter of fact, the mercy rule was in effect the whole second half. Give you a chance to play a lot of guys. I mean, you had freshmen on the field, sophomores, and second and third stringers in there. How do you as a coach determine when it's best for you to call off the dog, so to speak, or call out your starters, put the subs in?
For us, is the first thing we look at is how's our team playing. And, if you remember the Farragut game, we were up at halftime, 23-14. We came out the second half. We didn't feel like we played as well we should have. So it was in effect, the mercy rule was in effect after halftime against Walker Valley, but we wanted our first string to go back out there and get some reps so they understand what it's like after a halftime, because we need to. So the first thing to answer your question is, what is the best thing for your team? The second thing is are they taking their starters out? If they're still trying to score on you and they're not letting up, then there's no reason we should let up. So as long as their starters are in, our starters are going to stay in. Until it gets to a certain point time-wise, we're going to be smart about it, and then that's what happened Friday night. We got to the point where we knew they couldn't catch us, and we need to get some other guys some experience. So that's what happened, those last couple of drives. But I was happy with our JV offense because they went down and scored. So, and those guys deserve to play. Just like they practice hard at Monday through Friday. So Friday night, if they get a chance, they deserve to get in.
Well, mentioned Aiden McCleary. I thought Riley Hardman ran hard when he was carrying the ball, and all the guys performed well and did exactly what you need them to do. We're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll take a look ahead at this week's game between Bradley Central hosting Heritage here at Bradley Central High School. Back with Bear Coach Damon Floyd here on our weekly interview show, brought to you by Cleveland Collision Center at 2901 Waterlove Highway. Coach, last Friday night, what an atmosphere at Walker Valley. We had a huge crowd there. Walker Valley had a huge crowd. It was one of those games that we talked about all week long. I was here at school every day. It was just a vibe and electricity in the air. A dynamic pep rally Friday. I thought that was one of the best pep rallies we've ever had. And when you see the Bear Nation following you on the road, it's got to make the players, they understand, they see that, and they know it. And you yourself, it's got to make you feel good that you know they're there to support you, and they were there in force Friday night.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said any different. But when we walk out, after pregame, you go to the locker room, you're coming back out. I always look in the stands on the home side, the visitor side, no matter if we're home or away. And I know our players do too. And to see all the Bradley people on our side, and we obviously overfilled the seating capacity there, and our student sections lined up along the track there. Our kids feed off that.
Yeah.
And so do our coaches. It's exciting. It's a great atmosphere anytime you play, a local rival. It's different. It's not the same. And I know our players enjoy playing that type of atmosphere because there's a lot of hype surrounding the game, and it's fun to play those atmospheres on Friday night.
Well, this week we got our first region game of the year as we host Heritage. Cleveland High School is going to host Maryville. Ooltewah goes to William Blount, and McMinn County gets the week off. You can never overstate the importance of every single game, especially a region game. We can just go back 1 year. We got upset with Ooltewah here. It cost us a home playoff game, and you cannot overlook. And I guess you emphasize that to your coaches and your players all week long.
You do. The old coaching cliche, you take 1 week at a time, and that is the case. But I've also let our team know, look, if you want to play, because we only have 4 home games, everybody knows, if you want to play more home games, well, let's take care of business this Friday, and so we can get some home playoff games. And so that is one of our goals, and Heritage is the first region game here at home, so we expect another big crowd, student section to be behind us, and then we just got to go out and perform and execute like we did. And if we keep the same kind of intensity we played with last Friday, then we feel good about it.
Take care of business, can't you? Well, Coach Tim Hammontree, who's I think a really good coach, and he's stuck in a program right now that's really struggling to do well. He won a state title at Maryville in '97, right before George Cross took over. Went 15-0, then he moved to Georgia, came back to Ray County for a couple of years. He's coming off a winless season last year, 0-10. You took over when we were 1-9. The year before you took over, we were 1-9. How did you, and how does he go about resurrecting the program that's so far down? I know you can't do it overnight. Football, it takes a lot of time and effort and support and input from a lot of different people and things. But how did you do it? And how do you think he should do it? Or
yeah, well, I was very fortunate. If you look back when I took over, a lot of the good athletes were here in Bradley. They weren't playing football. So you look at our wrestling team, you look at our basketball team, they were going to state championship games. Our wrestling team was winning state championships. So I went and recruited our own hallways and got a lot of those kids out.
There you go.
And the first year we ended up winning 4 games, but then the second year we dipped back down to 2. And that's where you talk about building consistency and building a program. But I was very fortunate to have a lot of good players, the same coaching staff intact. Tried to get a lot of coaches that played at Bradley, or at least had pride in football. And Blake Gideon comes to mind, our offensive line coach. You ask him, he played at Ray County. And you ask him, and he'd tell you he's a Bear now. So just a lot of guys talented athletes, and then coaching staff that it meant a lot to them, put a lot of pride in it. So a lot of respect for Coach Hammontree. I can tell you this, when you turn on the film on Heritage, they're playing hard, and scheme-wise, they're very sound, and they have a very good scheme on what they do. Quite honestly, athletically, they've probably not been, where some other 6A teams are. And obviously players win games, and I know those guys want to get a win this Friday, and so I'm sure we'll get their best effort, and we need to make sure that we do the same, like I said before, the same intensity that we had against Walker Valley last week.
Well, you've been watching them on film, you just said, so what can we expect to see? What do they try to do offensively and defensively?
Offensively, they're a zone, RPO option team, same things you see all the spread teams do now, and their quarterback does a really good job of putting you in a bind if you're playing the run, then he's going to, they got some different concepts they play, but basically if your linebackers play the run, then they're going to throw the ball. If you sit back, they're going to hand it. So a couple of different ways that they disguise it, and so defensively on return, we'll have to disguise it a little bit and make sure we're playing responsibility-wise where we need to be. And then defensively, they showed a 3-man front, they showed a 4-man front, same stuff we've seen. So we got to get the ball in space and let our athletes make some plays.
Well, Heritage, much like Walker Valley we faced last week, who did end their losing streak the week before that, they're trying to lose this losing streak. What's the difference here on campus that you see between Heritage Week versus Walker Valley Week? Last week I was here every day and it was crazy.
Yeah.
Is there a big difference that you can detect and notice?
Oh yeah. Social media.
Oh, okay.
You know, you play a team like Walker Valley, there's a lot of talk, not only that week, but maybe throughout the year. We try to talk to our team, and I'm sure our kids probably did something on social media too, but we try to keep a wrap on that and keep an eye out for it and tell them it's not about what you do on social media, it's about what you do on the field. You know, coaching staff, I hope nobody, if I missed it, I may have missed some, but we are not to get on social media and talk about any opponent in a negative way. So yeah, I guess the biggest answer is there's a lot of talk on social media between local schools, and then when you play someone like Heritage, we just don't know them, so the social media is not too bad.
Well, I, for one, I'm on Twitter a lot. People see I tweet and retweet and stuff like that, and try to always be positive, especially when talking about high schools.
Yes.
I mean, these are young kids that are maturing and trying to get emotionally mature and so forth. And if you don't have something positive to say about your team, support your team, but leave the other teams alone. Just stick to your own team is all I can tell you there. But we need all the Bear Nation to be there. It's only our second home game we'll have all year long out of 4. And it really means a lot when the Bear Nation shows up, so I'm sure that you're ready for them to be there. Should be great weather. It's going to be another hot, dry week, looks like, and we encourage them to be there Friday night.
Yes, no doubt about it. I'm sure Lindsay will have Bear Nation there.
Oh, I'm sure she will. Well, that's going to do it this week for our coaches interview, brought to you by Cleveland Collision Center. Join us Friday night, 6 o'clock, live from the press box. Earl, myself, and Gwen Shore will be there as a sideline reporter. We'll have our pregame interviews with our coach, our player, and our award-winning football panel. That's 6 o'clock. Don't miss our weekly player interview with C.J. Dills. Until then, so long, good night, God bless, and go Bears.